part of my day. And hey everybody on Facebook, if you're watching live, we are live on YouNow. So if you actually have questions that you want to ask, you can hop over there and ask them there. And I also have my Patreon tab open. Hey Jennifer, so I'll be answering questions on Patreon as much as I can. I'll be toggling, you know how it goes, and then I'll be guesting a lot of you. So if you want to be guesting, hey Carly and Danny and Teresa, Rachel and Melanie, Callie, Nazanin and Jennifer, hey. And W. Katri, am I saying that right? I'm sorry, but hey everybody, so good to see you all. So like I said, I'm going to be guesting a lot of you. I'm going to be hopping over to Patreon and answering the questions over there. And also we have people watching from Facebook Live. Sean's got that going over there. And I'll be talking to you in the chat. So yeah, but sorry I'm a few minutes late. I had a couple calls this morning. That's why I haven't Snapchatted that much because our Instagram storied. Because I had just some business calls and then I was running a little behind and then I was trying to eat lunch quickly before I come hang out with all of you. Oh, it was your last day of school today, Alexandra. Yay! That's so awesome. Hooray! I know we're getting to that time of year, right? And so that's why I'm doing one live stream today right now. You're watching it, ta-da! And then I'm doing another one on Sunday at noon. And that is because I am going out of town and I'm going to go home to visit my mom and I won't be doing a live stream that week. Her Wi-Fi is not that good, and also I just want to have a vacation, you know, just relax. So I won't be on social media as much, but if you want to see what I'm up to, I always do Snapchat or Insta stories and stuff like that. I don't really know what the difference is in my practice between Snapchat and Insta stories. Snapchat's more just me rambling and talking about my thoughts, and Insta stories more like, this is interesting or funny or cool. Oh, thanks, Cynthia Bella. That's so sweet of you. So anyway, I finished lunch real quick, and then here I am.
Do you want to? Oh, you have water. Okay.
And thanks, Ava Christine, for inviting fans. I'm sorry, I'm just putting my water down. But you know that you can click on the video and share. Oh, thanks, Blundering Tusk. Whoop whoop. And so you can do the clicking on the screen, and you can share it that way, and you can let everybody know that we're going live, because I know some people still get confused about the times and what Pacific Standard Time means. So yeah. Let's just get into it. Thanks, Cindy B. It's so good to see you all, too. I feel like it's been, you know, I don't know, a week is, it's enough time. I feel like a lot has happened. To give you a couple updates on what I'm up to, what have I been up to? I finished filming all of the holiday videos for you guys. I hope that you like them, and Sean and I will be editing them today and tomorrow and getting those ready for release, and I think that you'll like all the topics. Hopefully you're enjoying them so far, and anyway, so I've been filming those and getting those ready, and then I was, you know, Christmas shopping and getting all that done and making sure to meet up with my friends and get them their gifts ahead of time, and yeah, and then just working, work. And so yeah, there's some exciting things coming in 2017, so I'm excited for you guys to see things, what we're working on, and hopefully you like it, and other collaborations that I'm working on. And I will be coming to Austin, Texas in January. I know some of you, oh thanks Aaron Carlton, I know some of you live in that area, and I'll be doing a meetup when I get there. It'll be towards the end of January, but I'll give you the exact dates and location, but I will be doing a meetup so that I can see all of you wonderful people, all of my Texans, or people that are close to that area. Texas is so large that usually in order to get into Texas, like to Austin, I feel like you'd have to live somewhere in Texas, but maybe not. So anyway, and thanks for all the thumbs up. You guys, we almost have 5,000 thumbs up already. So amazing. Oh, Michaela, okay, back to selling tea. Okay, go sell your tea. But anyway, so yeah, so this week has been good. It's been kind of busy. I'm teaching a continuing education course to other therapists, something I haven't done before. And so I've been putting a lot of work into that. And it's a really cool website called Good Therapy. And it's just a way for other therapists to get educated on different topics. And so I'm teaching on ethics. And so I've been working a lot on that. And it's really cool. And the organization is just, they've been super nice. And so I hope that people like what I'm going to teach them. I hope it's engaging, because those things can be super boring. So hopefully, you know, hopefully they like it. And I'll try to come to New York, you guys. I'll keep you posted about all of my travels and what I'm doing, but I am coming to Amsterdam in April, and I'll be doing a couple other stops in Europe, and I'll let you guys know when it gets closer. But if you haven't bought your tickets yet for VidCon Europe, It's in Amsterdam, April 8th through 9th, and you can buy them and do it. Oh, I just realized my sweatshirt, not that it really matters. I have shirts and tank tops under this, but it wasn't quite buttoned. So you can buy your tickets that way, and you can see me and hang out. And yeah, and I'll be going into Germany. I don't know which part yet, but I'll do a meetup there and a meetup in another area. But I'd love to see all of your faces because I'm not really able to travel that much financially, and it's nice that I was able to quit my full-time job, but still have a private practice, so just managing that. Anyway, and I will be doing some new videos. I'll be doing one on schizoid personality disorder. A lot of people have been asking about it. I just haven't had a chance to film it to fit it into the schedule because holidays were coming and people had a lot of questions about the holidays, but know that that'll be coming in January, as well as all of my videos with my trauma specialist. She's amazing. You're gonna love her. Okay, I would love to come to Brazil. You guys, I would come anywhere. The only thing is being able to afford to do it. So if there's an event where they have speakers, I can do that.
Or a billionaire in the audience.
Sean says that there's a billionaire in the audience. But anything like that, it would be great to come and to get to meet and see all of you. And so, yeah, I'd go anywhere.
If people are watching on the YouTube feed, hit that like button.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yeah.
Sean says if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. There's been all sorts of chitter chatter about YouTube and stuff. And I don't know if you guys watch, is it H3? Is that what it's called? Yeah. Oh, thanks, Blundering Tusk. You guys watch H3. I think that they are hilarious. And he did a really funny video about like needing likes and needing your videos to be longer and all this shit. And I died. If you need a laugh, watch H3. Oh, Keely's here. Thanks, Keely. Okay. So, everybody. Oh, and Christy Lynn, thank you guys so much for all the bars and the thumbs up and sharing this. It's so helpful for our community and to all of my wonderful Patreon patrons. Honestly, all of my videos couldn't be created without you guys, and so I'm extremely grateful. So let's get into a few questions, and then, oh, you can't stay, Keely? It's okay, as long as you can be in for as long as you can be here. I'll try to answer some of your questions, and then we will start guesting you, and I'll pop over to Patreon. We'll just kind of toggle between. Hey, everybody. Okay. Okay, Amberly, you're going into inpatient unit for anorexia. I know it's really scary, but trust me, if that's what your treatment team is recommending, it's the help that'll be best for you. And I know that the actual going and getting there is just really anxiety-provoking and really scary and stressful, but trust me, it's never as bad as we think it's going to be. And I think that you will finally get the help that you need and be able to process through some of that really hard stuff that's been really hard to deal with on the outpatient basis. Okay, hey, Sarah Claire. Okie dokie. Okay, Elizabeth's asking if I'll do a video on ARFID, because I have it, and EDOS.
What is ARFID?
I have to look at my DSM for the exact, hold on, I'll look it up. ARFID. Because I always forget that it's an eating disorder, but okay, avoidant restrictive. That's what I thought it was. Okay, so it's avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. I can definitely look into it. It's not something that I know that much about. I do know, I obviously have an understanding for eating disorders, but that's not something that I've diagnosed myself or treated in the inpatient or in my private practice, but I can definitely look into it. Happy to do it. Thanks, Jennifer. You guys are so helpful. But I remember, I feel like ARFID was just added to the DSM, or maybe they just changed the acronym just like they did with ED and OS, because they like to keep us on their toes. But anyway, so I will gladly, I believe it's already on my list actually, and I will gladly talk about it, let you know what it is, how it's diagnosed, and then I'll do some research to find out what the proper treatment options are. Okie dokie. Beth says, my anxiety's been getting the best of me lately, and I'm finding it hard to participate in lessons at school. How can I try to overcome it? The truth about anxiety is that medication alone, I actually just had, so I have these meetings once a month, I don't know if you guys even know this, where I sit down with between 4 to 8 other clinicians, and clinicians meaning psychiatrists, psychologists, doctors, like medical doctors, and then other therapists. And we all talk, thanks Bree Clark, we all talk about what we're working on and things that we're learning or different techniques we've been trying with clients, or if we're having a really tough time with a certain client or patient, then we'll bring them up and talk about them and get some insights. And it's kind of just a way for me to touch base with other professionals, make sure that I'm doing my best and I'm using all the tools. And we were talking about anxiety to this last week when I had my meeting. And it was interesting because they were talking about how anxiety can't really be fully treated just with medication. Like, it actually doesn't end up making it any better, and the panic attacks don't lessen just because we're taking medication. That the understanding. So medication plus understanding of when our anxiety is building, where it's coming from, what our triggers are, and working on techniques to calm ourselves down, whether that be breathing techniques or whether that be, you know, silly putty in our hands. Thanks, Jacqueline. Or whether that's coloring, any kind of tools and tips and tricks and techniques. And you can leave it in the comments. Let me know what things have helped you with your anxiety, but those things are best. And if it's getting the best of you at school or at work and you're unable to participate, when it comes to school, you can push for an IEP. And it's great because a lot of us school's ending right now for a period of time. For the next semester, I would get in touch with your school counselor and, you know, ask for some extra support for that. And then if you're at work, I would encourage you to talk to HR and see what therapy is available to you and let them know, you know, maybe you need to take some time off because of your anxiety. All of that is completely fine. I think it's just important that we understand where it's coming from for us, how it feels for us, and what best helps us calm it down. Thanks, Beth B. Whoop, whoop. Okay. And so, okay, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, Carly. Your internet got slower. Why does that happen? It's like all of a sudden they just decide to like shut us down. Ooh. I just hit the lamp. Okay. Let's see. Let's see for questions. Thanks, Jacqueline R. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. Go to Marjan says, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry. Do you have tips on slowly getting back in touch with your highly sensitive self? It has been locked away for a long time because it was just too much. I think a lot of us feel this way, where emotions or expressions or feelings that we were having about a certain scenario have become too much a long time ago. And we've slowly just like locked ourselves down, right? And we just lock it away, and it expresses itself usually in other ways, whether that be through anxiety, self-injury urges, eating disorder urges, isolating ourselves, depression, and come out any million of other ways. Thanks, Alyssa. And so because that comes out anyways, we're going to have to slowly open it back up, right? And start feeling those things. Yee. And that can make us so super nervous. And so the way to honestly best, well, not best, because everyone's different. That's the cool thing about therapy. There's no recipe and a perfect way to do things. And I think that's also kind of cool, because then it means that we can try different things. And if one thing doesn't work, it's not the only way we can do it. Am I right? So something I would encourage you to do is to start with one emotion at a time. I know that sounds really crazy because you're like, I can't really do that. And others may come out, but we're going to start by something that I have my clients do. And I've talked about this a little bit when it comes to like anger and expressing emotions. I think it's good to start with an emotion that doesn't seem quite so scary. Like anger is one that is highly triggering to a lot of people and really uncomfortable. But starting with an emotion maybe like excitement or enjoyment, or any of those. Happy, if you just want to keep it simple, you can do that. And then doing the art project where you kind of like take a white piece of paper and you write the word, let's say happy, on it. And then you start writing about other things. Oh, bye, Jacqueline. She's got to go. Well, I'm glad you were able to pop in for a little bit.
We've got 264 people.
Woo, woo. Yeah, there's a lot of people
Today's a busy
watching, you
day.
guys. Friday's a good day. And I'm trying Sunday. We're trying another day. We'll see if you like that. But so writing out the word happy and then letting your mind run away with that thought. What was the last experience you had that was happy? Were you petting a dog? That's how I feel. Super excited. Maybe you got to catch up with a really good friend of yours. Thanks, Emily A. Maybe anything that was kind of coming along with you. And you can write down words you associate with happy. Is it joy? Is it friendships? Is it animals? Whatever it is, then we start just like writing it and filling it in like a little collage of words. And I would encourage you to start doing that, to slowly start expressing what's going on, one emotion at a time, and taking your time. And then talking about some emotions will be really hard and you won't be able to do them right away. And why did that take longer? And then bring that up in therapy and start talking about emotions. We can kind of remove ourselves from them. And by doing art projects, it can be like an easy way to kind of disconnect enough that we can get in it, but just a little bit. And if it's not too much, we move on to the next one and we keep moving through until we feel like we can, you know, kind of feel most of them. I hope that's helpful. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Okie dokie. Okay, Michelle says, what's the biggest sign of bipolar? I'm terrified I might have it. I get so angry for no reason. Truthfully, I mean, there's bipolar 1 and 2, first of all, and I have videos on each. You can watch them because the difference is bipolar 1 and what I would call the most noticeable sign of bipolar, because there's no sign that just is bipolar. Everyone's experience is different. Some people have manic episodes, hypomanic. You can have a mixed episode. You can have dysthymia, and you can have depression, right? So that's like the whole gamut. I went from like high to low. Mania is the most noticeable. because most of the people when they're okay, Cindy says she's bipolar too. Well then, but I'm going to tell you what mania, because mania is the most noticeable, is when we usually have flights of ideas. Everything, we have so many good ideas that we want to execute on right now. We talk extremely fast. It's like so difficult for people to understand us, and people can't get a word in edgewise. There's no breaks in conversation. We don't need sleep. We feel extremely productive, and we also feel an extreme level of confidence. A lot of my clients with bipolar 1 will tell me that they felt just like nothing could hurt them. Everything was amazing. They could do everything. We just feel so good about things. But then on the flip side, we can have mixed, which may be what you're going through. I don't know. I would talk to your doctor, your psychiatrist, get a full assessment to make sure you're properly diagnosed. But a mixed episode is when we feel depression. Usually we're in a depressive episode first. And then we have a little bit of mania. Maybe it's a hypomania. We have a little bit of energy added to the depression, but the depression doesn't go away. So what does that make us feel? Really fucking uncomfortable and agitated and almost like we want to rip our skin off and we hate everybody. And so those do suck. Cindy just said those suck. Those totally suck. And so I think that those are the things that are usually most noticeable. And mania lasts for at least 5 days. It can go on longer. Some people a week. You can watch my videos for more, because I'm on my DSM. Like, you know, I set my book, my laptop's on my DSM, so I can't double check all of the numbers, but it's at least 5 days. You know, usually some people it's a week, but that's how it's diagnosed. And that's the one those are the ones that are most noticeable, because depression, often people don't consider it, I don't know if it's bipolar, because it's just, you know, unipolar. We're only in the depressive episode. So those are just some of my thoughts. But you can watch my videos on bipolar 1 and 2 and see what you think. Okay? Oh, F-bomb is a daily, yeah. Same, Carly. There was something I posted on Instagram a long time ago, and I think it was Instagram, where I was like, somebody said that it was like a quote from someone, and it's probably made up, but I don't care. And it said cursing more often or more frequently or something is just it actually shows that it like releases anxiety and depression, makes us feel better. And I was like, fuck yeah, it totally does. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to pop to Patreon really quick and answer a couple questions. So Jennifer's asking, my question is, how do we get over the fear of sleeping? I feel like it's a loss of control and it freaks me out. I always fear I'm going to die in my sleep or not wake up. Like my breathing will stop. I don't have anything wrong with my heart or breathing besides anxiety. Where does this stem from and how can I overcome it? And a couple other people were like, yeah, I really worry about this and I do have trouble with sleep. The truth about this is there are a couple things in play. One, usually trauma, PTSD. And I know that sounds really crazy because you're like, what? This is just sleep. I'm just afraid I'm going to die. I don't understand. I'm not having flashbacks. But the fear of being relaxed and having something happen to us usually comes from a traumatic past. It usually comes because we're hypervigilant. And that's usually part of like, you know, the repeated trauma of CPTSD. I have a video about that. And that's like recurrent traumas. And so that can make us too scared to let our guard down. And sleep is when we're the most vulnerable, right? And so that can be where that's coming from. And so the truth of it is that, I know this isn't an easy answer, but working on the trauma with someone and processing through it can slowly help it feel better. And it may get worse at first, like anything. When we're bringing that up and we're talking about the trauma, everything usually gets worse at first because we're having more flashbacks, we're not sleeping as much, things just aren't quite going our way. And so just knowing that that's probably where it comes from and working on the trauma first will make that go away for good. But there are like sleep sounds you can listen to on Spotify. Spotify has some great, this is not sponsored by the way.
Wait, you're talking good about Spotify?
I know Sean like pushes Spotify and I prefer Google Play. But the one thing that Spotify does have a good playlist of is sleep sounds. You can pick them and it's very nice. And so that can help doing rituals before bed. Like I have a whole video about how to better sleep. Check it out. It'll help. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Who wants to guest? Be our guest. Alexis Page Higgins, are you ready? We're going to have a guest. Is Wesley Rabbit on today? I don't think so. Alexandra, I think, was the other one that said, be our guest, be our guest. Oh, you never...
live streaming on Sunday, by the way.
Oh, at noon. Noon on Sunday. Pacific Standard Time. Right now, it's 1:23 where I am. PM. I can help you figure out what time that is. Oh, you love Spotify, Emily. Yeah, me too. Me too. Oh, is maladaptive daydreaming a form of dissociation? D. Louise asking, or Luxie. Oh, it didn't work. This is the problem with the guesting. Sometimes it just doesn't quite work. But maladaptive daydreaming, oh yeah, there's Alexandra, be our guest, be our guest. Oh, and Jer is back to tell us what's going on. We'll have to touch base with him. So maladaptive daydreaming is a form of dissociation. You can watch my videos about it where I talk, because dissociation is a way to kind of remove ourselves from the situation that's too triggering. And often when we're really struggling, we don't even know what necessarily triggered us. We just start, like, we just pull out. We have like no control over it, and it happens all the time. And when we end up like kind of creating another place that we want to quote unquote live in and daydream because everything else just feels too overwhelming or icky and we don't like it, it becomes maladaptive daydreaming. And that's just part of our, oh, it says connecting again. You guys, it's really weird. And can it occur in BPD? It definitely can. Borderline, for a lot of people, they don't realize. Let's see if it connects us with her. But remind me to go back to that if it doesn't. I don't know what's happening. You guys, it's just trying to connect. Okay, but anyway, so it can occur in borderline personality disorder because borderline personality disorder is usually, not always, it develops out of trauma. And not for everyone. Oh, it went away. Did you guys even see that?
I saw that.
Okay, so weird. I don't know why it wouldn't connect, and then it tried again without me knowing. So strange. But we because of the trauma, we become disengaged from emotions, and our attachment becomes broken because often it happens when we're young, and we either have an emotionally absent mother, which I have a video coming out about that. I know you guys have asked a ton of questions about that, and I have a great book. Oh, it's back on the bookshelf already, but I have a great book about it. But anyway, that's where borderline kind of comes from, is from trauma and from lack of attachment. And so usually when we have been, brought up in that kind of environment, dissociation comes right along with that because we know that that's kind of based out of, that's okay. Oh, thanks, Dacia. It comes out of like anxiety and also out of trauma. And so that's very common, and it can happen a lot with BPD. I don't know if it's under the diagnostic criteria, but the DSM isn't the end all be all. It doesn't always state everything as we experience it. So, oh, Yotis, Brittany Ann, thank you so much. If you have a question, let me know. I will answer it. And that's the cool thing about tipping, you guys, is if you have a question, you give a tip, I'll look for your name and try to answer your question, or guest you if you prefer to be guested. I know not everyone likes to guest. And look, we're almost to 17,000 likes. Do you think we can get it to 30 today?
I hope so. I think
and
there's
Trey Russ, woo woo, thank you. You guys are so nice and so generous today. Okay. Okay, Pantalina says, and yes, Jennifer, I see that you have another question on Patreon. I'll get to it. Pantalina says, they told me I'm anorexic bulimic. Like, I meet the criteria for bulimia, but I have the mindset of anorexia. I'm confused. That is confusing. Truth is that I'm learning from you guys. And this is a cool thing about our community. One of the many, many cool things. But I'm learning from many of you that your DSM, whatever it's called in your country, is different than mine, which makes sense. They're run by different organizations. They pick out, what goes in it and what doesn't by different people. So everybody's gonna have a different opinion, right? It's not a black and white science. It's not something that we can just say this happens and this doesn't. That's not always the case. So if I'd said that to a client, which I wouldn't because that's really confusing, I would say depending on your weight, because unfortunately the weight component is a huge part. Thanks, Brie Clark. The weight component is a huge part of anorexia. And so if we're underweight, that's usually when we fall into anorexia, because a lot of the other symptoms can be bulimia or anorexia. Like binging and purging can happen in anorexia. Binging and purging happens in bulimia, and an ADNOS or OSFED or whatever you want to call it, right? Thanks, Gloria C. You guys are so sweet. And so that's why it can be kind of confusing, because the symptoms can overlap into a lot of eating disorders. But if we don't meet the weight criteria, we won't be diagnosed with anorexia, we'll be diagnosed with bulimia. Okay? So if they say you're anorexic bulimic, it means your mindset is very restrictive, but my guess is that you're binging and purging and the weight criteria isn't met. So I would say that you're bulimic, and that would be the diagnosis I would give you. But if you don't meet criteria for either, then you'd be in the OSFED or EDNOS category, because that's kind of like the catch-all when other criteria aren't quite met. Okay? I hope that helps and makes sense. Oh, be a guest. Yep, I see you, Bree. Cindy B. Tip. Oh, thank you. So there's so many things to keep up with on this thing. Okay. Oh, and thanks, Jennifer, for sharing the video. Okay. Let's see. Let's try to guess somebody else here, okay? Oh, Alexis, you're back up. I wonder why. Do you want to try again?
Where did Gerald go?
I don't know. Gerald was there. Let's see. Aliel, we're spinning the wheel. Let's see if anybody can get connected. And it's best if you're on Wi-Fi. Sorry, I'm looking for my slipper. There it is. It's best if you're on Wi-Fi or connected directly to, your connection and not on your phone. That's usually the best way. Oh, hello.
Boy. That's my son.
Oh, how old is he? Oh,
He
he's so...
is 4 going on 5.
Oh, wow. Don't they grow up fast? I mean, I don't have kids, but my friends do, and they get big.
Anyways, my question. Well, first off, I've been a fan of your wild videos, super informative.
Oh, good.
I had been through trauma in the past, and I am actually self-harm free for 7 years now.
Woo, woo, woo. I wish I had like a little party confetti to throw.
Take notes for my son. Better over here. I live out in the sticks.
That's okay. I love the sticks. I was
my
raised in
friend-
the sticks. Oh, there's confetti. Somebody
Box
sent
that had-
confetti? Yay! Thanks, Kevin. Kevin sent confetti. Whoop, whoop. It's like, he knew how to do it.
You still there?
Yeah, can you
I think my
can
connection
you hear me?
is getting weaker.
Oh, no. Do you want to ask the
There we
question?
go.
Oh,
Actually,
you hear me? Are we good? Okay.
Yes, I got sweet spots.
Okay.
Anyways, my son just got a formal diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder, ASD,
Uh-huh.
and he's still pretty nonverbal. I have him getting speech therapy through his school 5 days out of the week.
Okay, good.
But I'm wondering, how do I know what's enough therapy? Should I be pushing it more when we're not in school, outside of school? I kind of wanted to let him be a kid and get him into maybe soccer or a fun sport, but maybe I need to step back and think about ABA and all those different types of therapies I'm learning about now for him. And at the same time, he's so young. How do I know what his threshold is?
That's a good question. And I think there's a couple of things. I don't know. It depends on your son. So it depends on how responsive he is and if he maxes out. Because sometimes children on the spectrum will max out and then they either explode, like they have like they either start rocking, they start screaming, they can throw things, they can get very aggressive and very frustrated because it feels so uncomfortable for them. And so if he does that, can you hear me okay? Am I coming through?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was like, I can drop you if it's easier. Let me know. But it's
getting stronger. It was weakened for a second.
Okay, let me know. Or if you want, you can just drop out and then maybe it'll be easier. But so there's that component. If he's doing that a lot, that would tell me that he's overstimulated and that it's too much. But I do think that because one of my first jobs ever was working at a treatment center for autism spectrum disorders. And it was a lot of, that floor time and the AB therapy and all of that stuff. And so that's what we used to do. And I think that
I see someone recommended one of the Tippy Talk. Is that one of the pets?
One of the what?
PEC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and those could be good. I would honestly at this stage, I would try things and see, because the good thing about it is the more interaction he gets socially and the more he works on, reading social cues and practicing things and being kind of getting in a routine, obviously, because that's really important, like keeping a structured schedule for him.
He does routine, very structured routine at home.
Oh, we're frozen. You're cutting out.
Well,
but so anyway, the routine is really helpful for them. And so I think if there is like a structure to keep his weeks pretty scheduled, I think that would be good. And the symptoms that I would look for to know if it's too much would be, is he agitated a lot? And is it hard for me to get him to calm down? Are his symptoms getting worse? Because that's kind of what I always gauge with children especially when they're not verbal and they can't tell us. It would be that. And then I would talk with the other... I would talk with the other, with the clinicians and therapists that you see to make sure he's making progress and they feel like it's going well, and learn other ways to help communicate with him and find out what's working. And that's what I would do. And just notice if his symptoms are getting worse. That's honestly usually what I tell parents who have a child on the spectrum, is just noticing that, because that's really his only way of expressing himself right now. And that's what we'll use to gauge it at this point. And hopefully with the help in the speech therapy and going into treatment, things will get better. Okay. Oh, we're frozen. Okay, Allie.
Oh, it finally connected. Anyways, off
Okay.
so that I can hear you better.
Okay. Okay. Good to see you. Thanks for being a guest. For being our guest. Be our guest. But yeah, if you are ever worried, okay, bye Pantalina. I'm glad you're able to be on for a little bit and hang out. If you are struggling and you have a child like that, I think just noticing their symptoms and if they're getting worse, that's really where I would be with it. And talking to the therapists and teachers to find out other ways to communicate. But knowing what their ways are to communicate with you and trying your best to listen. Okay? Okay, I see you, Gerald. Yeah, I could see that you were a guest in there, so I'll have you up next time, okay? Okay, Sophia is asking, is skin picking a symptom of OCD or is it its own disorder? It's actually its own disorder. It is definitely part of an anxiety-driven disorder, which OCD falls into that category as well. But it's actually called excoriation, and I have a video about it. Oh, thanks, Alexandra. Be our guest. Be our guest. But I have a video about it, and you can check it out and understand more about it, but it really is its own diagnosis altogether. And that video tells you how it's diagnosed, what it is, and what treatment options will help. Okay? Yeah, Nazanin says, I pick my skin a lot when I'm nervous. A lot of people do. Thanks, Nori S. And I think that, a lot of us have symptoms that'll come out when we're really stressed or maxed out. However, excoriation is its own thing. It has to last for a certain amount of time. It's like our only coping skill. Kind of. And so, yeah, check out my video and let me know if you have more questions. Thanks, April. You guys are so awesome putting those videos up. Yay. Our community is so cool. Okay, I'm going to pop over to Patreon. We'll answer another question over there. Okay, so Jenny says, I've noticed that I have a pattern of thought, like when I'm driving to and from work, that I think about things that really upset me and I can't seem to break the cycle. Do you have any suggestions of what might help? Honestly, the truth about that is that I would check out my video about intrusive thoughts, and I think it's like stop overthinking is the other one. I'm wearing like a yellow dress. It's weird that I remember what I'm wearing in certain videos. I think so. But that video, I talk about how to get out of those cycles, how to know that having nasty thoughts and icky things doesn't mean that you're going to do them. It doesn't mean that you are nasty or icky. It's very common, and it's honestly part of, like, I have a video about pure OCD, where it's like intrusive thoughts. And so the best way, I find, to stop those intrusive thoughts and those negative thought cycles is to force it out of it. And I've talked about this before, like having a really strong, happy memory that we go back to. Like for me, my big, strong, happy memory is when I was in Costa Rica. It was like 2006 or 7. I was with one of my good friends, Nina, and we were there, and I was floating in the ocean. And it was the one time, in my memory, it's one of those times where I just was floating thinking, this is just so amazing. Life is so great right now. And I had no worries, no stresses, nothing. It was amazing. I loved it. And so I go back to that. And I imagine what we were doing that day and seeing monkeys trying to steal my sunglasses and all the funny things that were happening. And that memory pulls you out of that nasty thought cycle or those negative thinking things that keep popping up or those intrusive thoughts. And we have to do that to ourselves to pull us out. And they say 30 seconds is the goal, but that doesn't mean that we, have to do it 30 seconds right away, because that can be really hard. Ooh, I just got a proposal, Sean. What do you think of that? Thank you for the beautiful ring. And so, thanks, Gabriella, for inviting people to the podcast. You guys, seriously, to the live stream. But anyway, that's how to stop that. So I hope that helps. Let's do one more over.
Whoa.
Oh.
Whoa.
Whoa.
It's just like me.
Oh, you
A
guys.
shred session.
I love it. Thanks, Alyssa. Oh, I want to go to Mammoth so bad, you guys. Oh, look at it.
Alyssa's a pretty good snowboarder. I'm not gonna lie.
Alyssa, you got some mad skills.
Mad skills.
And some moves. Let's see if we can see Alyssa. Oh, hi, Bree. I see your little message there. Be our guest. Be our guest. I'm trying to guest as many people as I can. Just takes a minute. If you have a question, Alyssa, let me know. That was really cool. I love all the the cool things, you guys. I don't know how YouNow works as far as that stuff goes. Like,
What the heck
but
is a snowboard?
I don't know. Oh, my hoodie. Somebody asked what brand it is. It's Free People. It was actually one of the, back in the day, I bought it probably 12 years ago. But the back is actually the coolest part. I don't know if you can even see it. Can you see it? Anyway, it's like it's all stitched and stuff. You know, like Free People stuff is always amazing. But it was one of the nicest items I bought for myself when I was starting grad school, when I got accepted. I bought this. So, yes, that's where this came from. It's one of my favorites. Only thing I don't like is its shoulders are a little tight. So, like, to get it off and on, I don't want to do it in public because, thanks, Brie, I don't want to, like, pull my other shirt that's underneath off. You know what I mean? Okay. Let's see. We have another question.
Where's the Gerald thing? I'm looking for that. It's like
No,
a key.
He's hanging in the queue. I saw him.
You see him?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a problem with the queue.
Oh, Sean's saying, you know, guys, the queue is weird. Sometimes we lose people, we see people, but I saw you in there. I'll try to find you again. Hopefully it doesn't just like remove you, because sometimes you'll see yourself in there. Like, who was it? Someone else was having an issue, and they're like, how come you didn't see me? And I don't know. I try, but sometimes it just disappears. So I will do my best to get through to a lot of you. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to... Okay, Melanie's asking, and I'm on Patreon, you guys. Some of the questions are really long, so I'll answer them later when I'm in Patreon. But this says, who needs to know about my eating disorder if I don't purge? Does my dentist or my orthodontist need to know if I only restrict? Also, how can I get past not feeling like my self-care and mental health are more important than others' convenience? I know taking care of myself should be a priority, but I always feel guilty about putting myself first. It's so interesting. This is a really good question. And who needs to know about your eating disorder? Truthfully, everybody. Because even though we're not purging, that's not the only reason that our teeth fall out. Are you guys ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. I'm just joking. But the truth is, sorry, I just couldn't help myself. But the truth is that when we don't eat enough, our body eats away at other things. Starting with muscle, it leaches calcium from our bones, and from our bones... These are bones. They're attached to a bone, right? That's what's holding in our teeth. This, all the way out here, it's all attached. And so that stuff starts eating away. I've actually had clients with anorexia who never purge. Sorry, I'm pulling my leg up because I like to do that. It's more comfortable. I've had clients' teeth just fall out and they've never purged at all. And so know that that's not the only reason that can happen. And the most important part about any eating disorder treatment is to get bone density tests and get a full blood work, because we want to know about potassium and electrolyte levels. We want to know about our bone density. We want to, if you can, you need to get like an EKG, or I think that's EKG for your heart. I'm not a medical doctor, but you need to get your heart checked to make sure that that's doing okay. And so truthfully, you need to tell everybody, because it has a lot of ramifications, whether we want to recognize it or not. This isn't a scare tactic. I know that doesn't work. I'm just being honest about the medical ramifications of eating disorders. And so I would tell everyone, because even though, I don't know if your dentist will have to do any extra work, but your teeth are weakened. And so I think it might be important for them to keep a lookout, because if your bone density is going down and your teeth are getting weak and all this stuff, I mean, we just need to let people know to make sure that nothing happens that's worse, right? And that they're prepared to give us the help that we need. And it is hard. I know a lot of us struggle with reaching out for help and feeling like we deserve it and we're not putting others out. And truthfully, it's important for us to get the help that we need, period. We would help other people. We are there for other people. We support them. And yeah, some things are, like, the truth about life is that there are going to be things where other people support us that's not the most convenient for them, but no one's putting a gun to their head and forcing them. And if they're able to help and support and they want to, they will. And the truth is that by getting help, you're going to be here longer and you're going to be happier and healthier. And all of that's really important. And so I would encourage you to battle that negative thought cycle that keeps us stuck not getting help, because we don't want to inconvenience anybody else. Because the truth of it is that the only person that's really inconveniencing if we don't get help is us. And I'm not okay with that. Getting help will make things get better. I know sometimes it gets worse at first and it's a slow start, but that's how we improve. And people in our lives who love and support us are going to do just that. They're going to love and support us. Okay? Okay. Have a question about Aussie. I don't know. You have a question about Aussie?
Oh, about Australia. I'm wondering who's there.
Oh, I was
Unless
like,
you guys have VidCon. I was wondering.
oh yeah. I'm trying to get to VidCon Australia, but I don't know if they have the funding to bring me. Pretty much just pay for my flight. But I'm doing my best, you guys. Okay, can IBS lead to eating disorders of any kind? Yes and no, depends on what you're doing. I don't think that anything leads to an eating disorder in that way. Like IBS is irritable bowel syndrome, if anybody's wondering. And I think that when we use our chronic illness or an issue that we're having as another way to act out an eating disorder symptoms, then we have an eating disorder, but the IBS doesn't cause it, and it's not an eating disorder, it's IBS. An eating disorder is when we use behaviors to control food and we attach emotion and value and other thoughts to our food, and we either overeat as a way to cope or undereat as a way to cope or purge in some ways to cope, or all of that stuff. When we're using that to cope, that's an eating disorder. No other thing is an eating disorder other than an eating disorder. And you can have IBS and an eating disorder. It just depends on why you're doing what you're doing. And if you're using your symptoms of IBS as a way to cloak your eating disorder, then you have both. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay. Oh, this is an interesting. Lonely lesbian lady says, Katie, I can't stop my junk food addiction. The truth about it is that if we say in my video, isn't that the video that just came out on Thursday where I talk about black and white thinking? I think that's the one, the all or nothing. I think that's when I talk about it. It was like the way to be be alone for the holidays. Anyway, when we say we can't have any junk food or we can't have any whatever, we can't do this, then that's all we think about. That's all we want. That's all we want to eat. So if you really enjoy junk food, and I don't even like calling it junk food, if you just really enjoy some tasty treats of yours, make sure that you allow yourself to have those and work those into your diet in a healthy manner. I don't want you eating your tasty treats all day, every day. We need a variety of foods to give our body the strength and the energy to do what we do. But I also don't want you, saying you can't have them at all. I don't want either. I don't want you to eat them all day, and I want you to not eat them at all. I think the best way to break an addiction with food is to allow yourself to have it when a craving strikes and know that you have a portion that you're going to have that's you feel is a reasonable amount, and at that point you're going to stop. And if you really have trouble with that, then I would assume it's more of an eating disorder issue than it is a junk food addiction. Because if you think that you have to eat and you have to eat until you feel sick and you have to keep doing it, then that might be binge eating disorder. Just throwing it out there. So that would be my advice for that. Okay, let's guess someone. Let's catch up with, Miriam, I see you. I see...
Oh, by the way, that guy, Arasha, is here again.
Oh, Arasha's here. I was looking for Jer.
Yeah, I don't see Jer.
I don't see Jer. Did it drop out? Do you want to get back in? Here, Arasha, let's make you a guest and see how things are going. We'll check in with you. Let me get some more water. Von Jolie, I see you. If I see you in the guesting.
Hello.
Hi, Arash. How are you?
Great, thank you. How about you?
I'm good. I'm glad it's Friday, but today's been a good day. So what's been going on? How are things going?
Yeah, it has been going well, but I have my own challenges also. One of those challenges is that, of course, I talked to you, I don't know how many I said about Iran and all those things, but and that, of course, I have challenges with that anytime. Difficult for me, but other than that, to Estonia. Now I am in Estonia. But the thing is that and I started to learn language and the language of Estonian, and then now I am studying psychology on basis of Estonian. So it's very difficult for me, and a lot of times I've challenge experience in Iran. Of course, I had social anxiety, but
it's cutting out.
Okay.
Okay.
I hope it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, social anxiety, fortunately, not very, now to even try to like this language. I am the whole time I'm beating myself up, saying, "Oh, I didn't learn. I'm not getting anywhere." All those things becoming like a mental battle.
So
Uh, so
is the social anxiety getting any better, or you feel like
it's
it's still
it's getting worse because now also this language, not fluent in this language,
the
so it's
language?
kind of getting worse. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
getting worse.
Are there any groups? I know this might not be something that's available in Estonia. I have a few other viewers and even some Patreon patrons from Estonia. So that's really cool. Our community is there. But something that sometimes helps people when we're trying to acclimate to not only a different culture, but a different language is to join. Are there any like
Meetup.com.
no, not just meetup.com. Sean was saying meetup.com, but not just that. There's some, like, for instance, I'm going to give you an example in LA. There are English as a second language, like, study groups, and people get together to practice language. And a lot of the people will find someone else that speaks their, like, mother tongue. And it's a great way to connect with other people who may feel what you're feeling. And sometimes it's almost like group support in a way while learning the new language together. And that might be something that could help.
Yeah,
I don't know if they have that there because I've never been to Estonia, but
yeah, yeah. They're all very active because not many people learning this language. So and
oh god.
but anyway, this learning becoming not just like I am using the example of language, but learning skills is such a painful experience for me because it becomes a process of beating myself up. I am not progressing enough. I'm not fast enough. I am sometimes I go to the very negative side, say I am stupid. I am there is something wrong with me. I can't learn all those negative chatter in mind, and especially now the psychology also. And you said about the Iran and all those go to a psychologist and have did that,
Uh-oh.
but I am trying to hold time. I talk to the therapist in Estonian. I'm refusing to speak in English, and then that become also instead of therapy session become like a comforting session. Like I'm, I'm beating myself up the whole time.
Do you ever
So
maybe try this week? Let me know because well, I'll be back on Sunday doing a live stream, but I'll, maybe the next time I do a live stream gives you some time to practice. Have you tried doing the like talking back to those negative thoughts at all? I know that we can't do them all, like the I'm stupid, I'm whatever, like all those negative, nasty things we tell ourselves. Have you done any of the talking back, like where you write down the nasty thought and then you write a positive one to negate it? So let's say my negative thought is I'm so stupid. I'm always doing such stupid things. Instead, in the positive, I could be like, no, I actually, I did go to school. I did well in school and I'm doing the best I can. I'm just having a hard time right now. And it's like giving yourself the positive affirmations of like, I'm doing the best I can. Yes, this is a struggle, but really that, you're not stupid and that's not true. And it's important for us, I think, to like talk back to those versus taking them as fact. Do you think you could try that?
mm,
Maybe.
well, I guess because I grown up with having a perfectionist mindset. I guess a lot of times I totally agree with those thoughts, never challenge them, say, oh, it's true, I should be better than this, or yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I
it takes
never really.
hmm and it can take time and practice to get out of that mindset of like everything needs to be perfect and I do everything exactly as it's supposed to be done. And it can take us a little while to get out of that like cycle, but start there. Try 5 things. Try doing like 5 negative things and talking back with 5 positives. And then let me know. But it looks like you've frozen for some reason. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Arash, I'm
yeah,
gonna
I can.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll try that.
I can hear
And let
you.
us,
Yeah,
let us know next week. Okay?
yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
Of course. Good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. It was so good, and then it cut out and like was, it went crazy. I see, Jennifer. I won't forget. And if I don't answer it on this live stream, I'll either do it on Sunday or I can answer on Patreon itself. Thanks, Cynthia Bella. You've been so sweet today. And I know, oh, you're not a pain. No one's a pain. I try to get through as many of these as I can. And Jer, I see you. We're coming in hot. Coming in hot.
And then Alyssa said she didn't have a question. She was there to put this notebook on the screen.
Oh, okay.
She just said she's a big fan. Been watching for a long time.
Oh, that was
She's
cool.
sincerely
Hi, Jer.
appreciative.
How's
Hey,
it going?
Katie. I'm just trying to get this camera sorted. Sorry. There.
There you go.
Can
There
can
we
you hear
see
me?
you. I can
Can you
hear
hear
you
me okay?
perfectly.
Yeah.
Grand. Just 2 things before I finish this. There's somebody that I was talking to on your chat on your website, and they were afraid to come on and ask a question. So I said that if you will allow, I can ask a question for them, and maybe you could answer.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay. So since we last spoke, I got an emergency appointment, and basically I went into the psych doctor, and they wouldn't give me lithium, and they said that it would not work for me. That
Okay.
my condition, they re-diagnosed me from general anxiety disorder to borderline personality disorder, and they said that the way they want it to work is that I continue to see the psychologist, even though I told them that it's not doing me a good.
That's such bullshit.
So yeah, so basically I left that appointment. Okay, I stormed out while the psych doc was talking to me and my wife. I just got up and walked out, and I went to the local park. I went for a walk, and I just cried for about 45 minutes. And I was just
Yeah.
just pleading like with God, like this, like why am I going through this? And I said the only thing that I have to try and do now is maybe try and get through it naturally rather than rely on the medication or rely on these doctors supposed to be helping me,
Yeah, they're
Um,
supposed to like hear you and listen and try different things.
yeah, and this is the thing. Like she was very abrupt. She was like, "No, we're not going to entertain that. We're not going to do it. There's no point in you asking. We're not going to do it." And I was like, "Listen, my life is on the line here." And I was crying and I was begging them. I was begging them for ages, and she was like, "No, not going to do it." And my wife was like, "You don't have to live with him. I have to live with him like that. Can you please give him the medication?" And they wouldn't. So I went to my GP to get prescribed,
Uh-huh.
and my GP said she would not go against my psych team.
Oh.
So I'm still back at square one now, and the main issues I'm having at the moment, Katie, is I don't know if it's from the medication or it's from the anxiety, but I'm constantly dizzy all the time. So even when I want to go out for a walk, I feel dizzy and disorientated all the time. And I've watched your videos on depersonalization. I've watched all them,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't go away.
Does it, just out of curiosity, like, is it just dizziness, or do you feel like it is depersonalization or derealization? Like, do you feel like you're removed from yourself at all, or no?
No, I don't feel like I'm removed from myself at all. I feel like, like a drunk feeling or a tipsy feeling after you've had a couple of too many drinks. That's what it feels like all the time, and then I get very kind of off balance. Now I've tried vertigo medication over the last week or two as well to see if that would help, but
Yeah.
no, I don't know what I'm just lost, and I think, Katie, I'm really fearful that because I've been depressed and anxious for so long, is it after damaging something in my brain? Am I after doing something to strain in my brain? That's the reason that I'm like this.
I don't think so. Do you have headphones, Jared? It's starting to make a scratchy noise.
Do I have headphones? Do I have headphones? Yeah, 1 second.
Okay. We'll have them grab phones, you guys. Sorry. I know it's like, I don't know why it gets that way sometimes. It was perfectly fine, and it's like, there we go.
Your feedback loop.
Perfect. Can we hear you? Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you. It was like it was fine, and then all of a sudden it got really scratchy.
Yeah, it started to get all fuzzy.
Dizziness is a common side effect of a lot of medications. So depending on what you're on, it doesn't mean it's like harming you, like it's doing anything to your brain. It's just like your body's reaction to the medication. That could be where the dizziness is coming from. Oh, bye, Cindy. Sorry, somebody had to leave. But also it could be because of the anxiety. A lot of my clients who have like extreme anxiety will feel faint and feel disoriented sometimes. And it's almost because, like, I would encourage you, if you start feeling dizzy when you're going for a walk, if you can, I know it might be wet out because of the season, but sitting down on a bench or something and doing some deep breathing. The breathing techniques that work best for my clients, and it's going to sound kind of silly, but it's just 4x4.
So you have a video on it too?
Yeah, I have a video on it. It's called Relax, I think, breathing technique. But you breathe in for 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4. We hold our breath for 4 and breathe out for, oh, we lost Jer. Maybe it'll come back. But anyway, Jer, doing the 4x4 breathing, see if that helps. That'll kind of tell us where it's coming from, if it's coming from the anxiety portion or if it's coming from the medication. If breathing techniques and even, you know, trying to go for a walk or maybe doing some stretches. I even have a yoga stretches video from a long time ago. And I'm actually going to hopefully be able to collaborate with somebody who does yoga on YouTube soon. But we'll try to do some of those things. And if that does help the dizziness subside a little bit, then that means it came from the anxiety component. And I would, you know, look into that and try that first and, you know, see if that helps. And then let your doctors know that you think it might be a side effect. Be like, I don't know, I think it might be coming from medication. I'm feeling really dizzy. And hopefully, you know, they'll be able to help you and be able to maybe lower the dose or change the medication. Maybe that will force them to try something else with you because you're having an adverse side effect. Because, oh yeah, so Paige she says breathing exercises make it worse. So calling and talking to someone helps her. And that could be something, maybe you talk to your wife, because breathing exercises can be good and bad. Sometimes they make us focus too much. Like if I'm really stressed out or having, like feeling really anxious, it makes you like hear your heartbeat and your breath and you're like, it makes it so much worse. And so noticing what helps for you. But talking to someone, coloring is really something, honestly, that helps me if I'm feeling really maxed out and feeling like I have too much going on. Yeah, so those are some things that might help. And then obviously checking with your doctor and seeing about the side effect thing. But I hope that helps, Jared. And I'm sorry we didn't get to your other question. If you want to ask it in the chat or if you want to reconnect, I'll look for it, okay? So we'll try to find it in the chat. I know someone else had a question, was afraid to come on. Okay, Alexis asked, I have PTSD. How can I help stop flashbacks? My therapist doesn't help at all. Ooh, can you get another therapist? They should be a little bit more helpful. Honestly, the way to stop flashbacks, as shitty as this sounds, is talking it out in detail with your therapist. Slowly talking through it. And that's actually what makes the flashbacks stop, is processing through that portion. And I do it with my clients. Even though I'm not a trauma specialist, like often that's enough to stop the flashbacks and to help people process through what happened. And so, you know, you talk through that little chunk that you keep having replay, or talking through the chunk that you feel in your body, because body memories can be a thing that you experience, or it could be a complete flashback, like you're in the moment, like it's happening to you again. You can talk through that in detail, and it should hopefully slowly go away. And that's honestly been the best thing for me. How come Blake Brady's so upset? All the angry faces. Okay, let's see if we can get Jer on to finish his question. Oh, I don't see you in the queue, Jer. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to go over to...
I'll keep an eye out.
Okay, Sean's going to keep an eye out and see if he can see you pop back in. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so ready? Here's the question. This will be our last question on Patreon. I'll guest 2 more of you, and then I'm going to answer another question in chat. So we got 1, 2 guests, 1 more answer, and then we're going to be done, okay? And I'll see you on Sunday at noon. Okay, so hey Katie, I have a question. This is very personal for me and hard to say, but I desperately need advice. This time of year is hard for me, not only because of the holidays and general holiday season stuff, but because January 6, 2010, going on 7 years ago, I had my son and he sadly passed away the same day. Oh, I'm so sorry. He was conceived by me being raped at 13 and I had him at 14. And although I hate the person who hurt me, I still love my son. I often wonder what type of 7-year-old little boy he would be today. I know I have to talk about it in therapy, but I'm scared to. I've done such a great job of stuffing down the pain that I feel. My family just pretends like he never existed and basically have the get over it mindset. There obviously isn't a day that goes by that I don't think of him, but every time this time of year comes around, I become completely reckless. I do things like speeding while driving, smoking, drinking, self-harm gets worse, etc. That's very common. Last year, I left home for 2 months without telling anyone where I was going. I was so out of control. I blame myself for my son's passing, even though there isn't anything I could have done, or so I've been told. How can I get through this year without basically going insane again? I don't know what to do. Please help. I think this is in truth, this is something that I am going to have a couple of my friends come on, hopefully, and I'm hopeful that I can get someone, I don't want to tell you who, but I'm reaching out to someone about talking about miscarriages and losing children, because I know it's really hard for people. And I actually know of 2 viewers of mine, and now one more, who have had something similar happen, where they've lost a child at birth, or like within a week of them being born. And the truth of it is, the person that asked this question, JJ, the truth of it is that we have to give ourselves time to grieve it, because when I was in school, we learned about, I really wanted to be a child psychologist. That's what my initial thing was when I went into school. And so I did a lot of like developmental psych courses. And they say a mother becomes a mother while pregnant, like upon conception. Once she feels the baby move in her stomach, she starts becoming a mother. And so the truth of it is that you need time to grieve that loss of your child. It's not a just get over it type of thing. It's really something, I know you said you need to talk about in therapy, but you really need to talk about it in therapy, because you've never given yourself the ability to grieve. And so all of your unhealthy, nasty coping skills are just like shooting out of you. And that's why you feel so reckless. And it's okay. That's very normal. It's your body's response to all the emotional volatility that you feel, because truthfully, you're probably just really sad and hurt. Not to mention the fact that this happened out of rape, and processing that trauma as well. It's like stacking trauma upon trauma. And we have to, work through that and open that up and, slowly process it. And it's okay to feel bad. It's okay to act reckless. I know that people will say like, oh, you shouldn't do that, and that's bad. But try to process it through. It may feel worse at first, but I promise it'll slowly get better. And your unhealthy coping skills are going to come out. Just try not to beat yourself up about them, and try to distract, okay? Oh, thanks, Claire. Just try to distract as much as you can, and use as many tools as you can. But know in the end that you're fighting it and you're working on it. And you're going to keep talking about it and start talking about it with your therapist, because you're not alone. A lot of people have miscarriages. Like my sister-in-law had a miscarriage, and it was really hard, and she didn't want to talk about it that much. Phil, I don't know if you guys know Phil DeFranco, his wife had a miscarriage this year, and she's been really open about it. And you're not alone. Women lose children after birth, during pregnancy, all the time, and it's really hard. Even I love Man Repeller. It's like a fashion blog, but Leander Medine, who runs it, had a miscarriage this year after trying to get pregnant for so long. And she talks about the grief process, and it's no different. It doesn't matter how we become a parent or, anything like that. I think that you need to give yourself the time to grieve the loss and know that it's okay. Okay? And grief is a shitty process, but I'm going to try to have some more people on to talk about it. But just know that you're not alone, and know that it will get better. We just have to talk about it. And of course it feels really personal. Of course it feels hard to talk about, but I think starting the conversation is really important, and you'll start to slowly feel better. So hang in there, okay? And I'm sending some extra love and support your way, because I know it's hard, but know that it can get better. So please bring it up at your next session if you can, because we're coming upon that time, and I don't want you to feel like you haven't gotten any of it out. Or start journaling about it if you don't have a session, okay?
Gerald jumped back in. His computer went back up.
Okay, so we're going to bring Gerald back up to ask that other question. No, I don't. Okay, I'm going to guess someone else right now just to, just to kill the time until. Thanks, Jennifer, for the tip. That was really sweet of you, and I hope that feels better. Oh, okay, Bree, I'll try to find you in there. Of course, Jennifer, I'm happy to help. Happy to answer. Okay, so we're going to bring Von Jolie.
Hello.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
The right way. I'm okay.
She's standing on the wall.
I just wanted to ask, because I'm going into college.
Oh, I love your accent.
I want to be a counsellor. Oh, thank you. I want to be a counsellor, but I just didn't know what I need to do.
Okay. Do you want to become like a school counselor? Do you want to become a therapist like myself? What kind of things would you like to do?
Because I do
Pardon?
psychology as GCSE. I do psychology, and I tend to help a lot of people because I've gone through like some hard times, but I don't really know what I want to do. So I'm studying health and social care at college, but I just don't know what I'd need to do to get there, if you know what I mean.
Okay, and everyone's system's a little different. So I know if you're in the UK, like doing your GCSEs and
Yeah,
A levels, like starting to narrow them down and making sure that you're still taking like psychology, and if there's like a health portion, keeping with that. Um, and depending on what you want to do, I'm just going to give you some ideas. So like for my
yeah,
program and the way that I did it, if I wanted to become like a researcher as well as a
yeah.
therapist, I would need to keep science in there too. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Right, okay.
But that's up to you. And
Yeah,
like, I wasn't interested in the research so much as I was helping people, talking to people. Oh, thanks, Layla.
yeah,
Big tip. But so my advice would be to talk to your school counselors if they're there, or any guidance counselors you have, to make sure you're on the right path, and know that. So you'll go through and finish your is GCSEs the last, or is it A levels?
it's GCSEs, and then you then go to college or sixth form to do your A levels.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So doing your GCSEs, it sounds like you're doing great, keeping it with like the psychology field and making sure that you're
Yeah,
like keeping your focus on what you're interested in. And then I don't know if they have social science or sociology. Those are other places that my friends like
they
came
do
to.
do sociology. Yeah,
Okay,
they
perfect.
do sociology. Yeah,
Okay, so I'd keep that as well, because that gives you, I'm just giving you like the broadest base, so that then
yeah,
when you go into, so the way that I did it in the States is I went through college, or I went through high school and took a psych class, just basic psych, took my tests
yeah,
and that, did well, applied to a college that had a great psych program, majored in psychology, and then I went on to graduate school. And that's really the truth about it in the States, at least, is that in order to become any kind of licensed professional, you have to at least go to graduate school. And that's really where you have to
yeah,
pick kind of what realm of psychology you want to be in. Like, do you want to go
yeah,
towards research? Then that's 4 more years. Do you want to just be a therapist or a social worker? That's 2 more years. That's what I did. A school counselor,
yeah,
2 more years. And you can kind of pick from there. And then once you're in that process, and once you're in the college, like in your grad school, and even after college, I had a couple of jobs I took in the like counseling field that wasn't, I didn't need to be licensed.
yeah,
And that helped me decide, like, that's when I learned that I really don't like working with children, which sounds bad, but you learn through practice what
yeah,
types of people you enjoy working with the most. And so I wouldn't really worry about knowing where you want to work and what you want to do right now. I would wait
yeah,
until at least after college, start, taking some random jobs, like helping out in a
yeah,
counseling center, or working, helping out children underprivileged children, or anything like that. And then when you're in grad school is when you get to like try things out. And so that's how I ended up, because I started out working at like a free clinic and I saw a variety of people. Then I worked at the eating disorder inpatient, and that's when I realized I really love that. But I still went on to work at a
yeah,
regular hospital, and that was like, floridly psychotic patients coming in, parents freaking out or kids having a hard time. And so it just gave me an idea. And then you get to pick from there. Like, and I honestly, also along with, even now I still change, like I'll take clients on that I normally wouldn't, because I've learned more and I'm actually enjoying that, like a bipolar disorder. I have a lot of clients now that have bipolar disorder, and it's actually been really informational for me to not only take the classes to learn about it, but then to treat it and get to work with it. So you can always change
yeah.
it once you have your license. Does that
Because
help?
I was born in America. Yeah, because I was born in
Oh, okay.
America, but then I then
Uh-huh.
moved back to England. But because I've still got my American passport. When I leave school, I can then move to America and do my further like university and that out there. So it was just like, do I
Yeah.
stay in England or do I go back to America? I don't really know.
Okay. Yeah, I think you'd be fine. Truthfully, if you want to go to college in the States, that would be fine. But I think grad school would be important, going in the state where you want to live, because that kind of sets
Yeah,
you up for all the requirements. That would be my only like
yeah,
push. If you want to move back to the States, I would pick the state you want to live in, go to grad school there, because they'll set you up for success when it comes to licensing and all of that.
yeah.
But you could go to
Okay.
college in the UK or the States. That's completely up to you, and stuff like that. But grad school, make sure that you're where you want to be, because it's more difficult to swap. Like I thought about moving to the East Coast to New York for a while, and it was like such a process because I'd already done some classes here and it was going to be hard and to transfer this, and they didn't agree. They didn't have the same rules as California. And so
Yeah.
that'll make it easiest for you. Sorry, just setting my water down. But yeah, keep me posted as things come along.
Thank
And if you
you.
end up in the States,
Yeah.
hopefully I can meet you in April maybe.
Thank you. Yeah.
Of course. Thanks for waiting. I'm glad I was able to
It's all
answer.
Can you check to see if he showed back
Goodbye.
in? My queue doesn't show him, and he says he's in there, but I can't see it.
Okay, Sean's. Okay, I don't see him in this one. I'm looking for you, Jer. I'm gonna go.
I think that it's buggy because
It is.
it showed him earlier, it doesn't show now, and I wonder how many other people are that we're not seeing. 'Cause
Yeah.
there may be a bunch of people that are there.
Well, if
that
I do
aren't.
waiting longest, I see Danny. Danny Haas, I see you. I might have you on next. I was
even
trying.
looked at alphabetical. I looked at just joined. And
Yeah.
It doesn't show up. I don't know what the.
I don't know. You guys is being weird. And if you have the question, Jer, let us know. But Danny, I'm gonna have you on, and then we'll answer some more in the chat and on Patreon. Ooh, 29 top broadcasters. Hi, Danny.
Hi, I'm going to be looking down because I wrote the questions down on my phone, so I don't forget.
That's totally fine. I have trouble because I try to look in the camera so it looks like I'm looking at you, but to look
Yeah.
at you, it's like here. It's weird.
So I actually
So don't worry.
No, it's okay. I actually have two questions. So
Okay.
I don't remember if you know, but I have an anxiety disorder, GAD, as my therapist diagnosed me. And lately,
Mhm.
I feel the anxiety like I usually do, but lately it's like some different feelings. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes I think it's depression, but I'm not sure. So like sometimes I feel like down and numb and kind of drained. Like that happened, like for example, in math class, I was taking a test and I was frustrated, but then afterwards I just felt so drained and like I didn't want to do anything, but I had to go to choir practice. And then sometimes I don't like myself or I get upset at myself.
Yeah.
And like bad thoughts come into my head. Like today I was thinking about some stuff and it really made me upset. And like I remember in history class, for no apparent reason, I was like blinking away tears and I was like, why am I crying? This is so weird. Like even at home,
Yeah.
sometimes I'll feel like I need to start crying. I'm like, what's going on? Like, why am I feeling this way? I'm not feeling anxious. Like, what's going on? So I talked to my therapist about it. She said it's probably part of your anxiety, but at the same time, like, I'm not sure.
Well, the truth of it is, or at least let me know if this makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the way that I see anxiety and depression is like they're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And most of my clients who have depression have anxiety. And my clients who have anxiety have depression. And it honestly depends on like the time of year for many of my clients, what's going on. If things are very stressful and there's a lot of high stress, the anxiety is like, phew. But then if we take away the stressful situation, let's say we finished our finals or we're done with work, then the depression hits and we don't want to get out of bed and we don't want to see anybody and we cry for no reason. And so I would guess that it is depression. And because anxiety and depression in the brain and genetically speaking, they're right next to one another. They're like essentially, that's why I always say they're like the same thing. And I talk about them like a teeter-totter, you know? And if they happen at the same time, if you feel anxious and depressed, that's actually when it's really, you'll feel like shit. You'll feel terrible, like just agitated and frustrated. And that's when I would like call. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And actually the week before I did have a lot of tests. Like I remember like one day, like that week I had like a history essay due, I had a math test, I had an LA essay, and I was behind because I missed a day at school and I was like really stressed out. Like I'm in this support group at school and everyone was so stressed out. And then like school kind of, it's laying down, like I don't have as many tests coming up.
Yeah.
So I definitely see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that's probably what your therapist means by saying it's part of your anxiety, because that's how I always kind of explain it. It's like the different sides of the same coin. I don't know why, truthfully, like why the DSM doesn't diagnose it as like part of the same.
Yeah.
Because I rarely do I see someone who doesn't have both. If they have one, they have the other. It's just a matter of time. But if
sometimes
I don't know if you are on any. Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, sometimes like I don't exactly want to say, oh, I feel like I have depression, because I don't want them thinking that I'm trying to create another diagnosis for myself, or I'm like overthinking it or taking it the wrong way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, totally. And I don't think you're wrong by saying it's just like you're having more symptoms and they're depressive ones. And so it sounds like depression. to me. But yeah, I mean, I would just keep talking about it with your therapist. I would keep bringing it up because you're going to need tools and tips and stuff for both.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when we get one under control, the other one goes up and vice versa. And it can just be really, it can just be terrible. But,
Yeah.
you know,
Sometimes
and I don't know if you're on, I don't know if you're on medication, but just
Yeah.
the only reason I say medication is because they're so, like, anxiety and depression sit in the brain in the similar spots and similar genes. And so the neurons that medication works on work for both. That's why people will be on the same, like both people will be on Prozac or Lexapro or whatever for depression and anxiety, because it's like the same part.
Yeah, I've seen a psychiatrist once, and I'm seeing them again, not till January. I was going to see them originally, I think, Wednesday of this week, but I couldn't because I had choir practice, but I am seeing them again soon.
Okay, cool. Well, keep me posted. Let me know what they say. But
Yeah.
they should explain that to you, that it is like part of it. And you don't have to go on medication. That's completely up to you. But
Yeah.
that's why if you look up, you know, it'll say an antidepressant, but those are always what my anxious patients are given. Unless you're having panic attacks, that's a whole different treatment plan. But yeah, know that,
Rarely get panic attacks. Rarely.
yeah.
Just like sudden anxiety just comes and stays. I don't really have that many panic attacks.
Okay, good. But know that it's normal. What you're going through, nothing's extra wrong with you. Nothing's weird. It's very common. And I see it in a lot of my clients. And it is treatable, and it will get better. I just keep talking about it. Make sure she knows and she hears you. Okay?
Yeah. And then if I have time, I have one more question if you have time.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine, and she's actually transgender, but today she told me, like, just randomly in science, she said, oh, I lost 3 pounds, and I thought maybe she's trying to lose weight, like, on a diet. I said, oh, good for you. And then she said, but then she said, like, I'm not eating. I'm like, what? Like, I got really confused. And I was talking to my friend about it. I was like, hey, you know, did so-and-so tell you this? She's like, yeah, she hasn't been eating for a little bit. But at the same time, this girl, she feeds off of drama. Like, she really likes drama, and I don't know if there's something really, like, I don't think of her as an attention seeker, but it's kind of like,
it feels that way.
In a way, but at the same time, I'm concerned because, you know, I went through a small little, like, eating issue in April, and I was talking to her today, and I told her, like, I don't want you to fall in the slope that I fell in, so I'm genuinely concerned, but at the same time, I don't know if I should say something, because she gossips about me sometimes, and she gossips about a lot of people. Like, my friend said, oh, she's been talking about you, and I'm like, are you serious again?
Great. Yeah, I think it's okay to say, like, what you said, like, I just don't want you to fall into the same slippery slope that I did. And I think really the best thing you could do, because this kind of puts you in where you're still being a good friend, and because you don't want anything like that to happen to her, but you're also not feeding into the drama. You can just say, you know, I just don't want you to fall into what I did last April, but I just want you to know I'm here for you. So if you need someone to talk to, I'm here to listen. And then just leave it at that and move on. So you're not, like, feeding into this story or building up any drama. You're just like, hey, I heard you've been having a hard time, and I'm here if you need me. And that's it.
Yeah.
And I would just keep it at that. And then her response will most likely show you where it's coming from and what it really is. But you know, at that point, you kind of, like, done your due diligence as a friend. You've let her know you're there. And that's really all we can do anyway. So I think that'll be okay.
Yeah, she was also kind of like, when she told me, she was like kind of like a small little chuckle and smiling. And I was like, that's weird.
That is weird. Yeah. But at least then you're not, like, leaving her hanging or ignoring her, you know, potential cry for help. And you can just make sure. Yeah. But keep me posted. Let me know what comes of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Okay, the lady, it's split in 3. Has he put it in there? Do I see Jer? Why do I not see him? Do we see his question in the chat, babe?
Sorry, I was doing 2 things at once. I think he said it's too long, or the lady's question is split in 3.
Yeah, I just couldn't find it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but...
Oh, okay. I'm just going to answer. Maureen has a question, and then we're going to wrap it up, you guys. We're going to go. And if you have questions on Patreon I haven't gotten to, or more questions in the chat, we'll be back on Sunday. I hope you guys have, you know, you're able to join me then as well. Okay, so Maureen says, can you stop hypervigilance from PTSD? I can't go outside without having a panic attack, and I barely sleep. How do I stop it? The truth is that we have to work through our trauma. We have to start talking about it. And the hypervigilance component will go away. But until we've started working through it and things start to get better and the flash, everything kind of dissipates once we start working on it. And I know it sucks. I wish it was like, oh, we can do these relaxation techniques, or we can do this or that or whatever. But it doesn't really work like that, because our body is responding to what it perceives as a threat, because it often feels like it's under threat all the time. Hence our PTSD, right? And so the best way is either, the best way is actually both therapy and talking about it and processing through it, and medication. Medication can help, just like I was talking with Danny a minute ago. It can help with, with any extra anxiety or any panic feeling or hypervigilance. It can help calm us down. But that would be my recommendation, and just keep me posted. Oh, the live stream on Sunday is at noon. Oh my God, my nose is itching. I know it's really exhausting, Maureen. Being hypervigilant, being on, it totally wears us out. And you can do some relaxation techniques and try to breathe and try to color and distract yourself. Distracting can help from it, but in order to actually make it go away, unfortunately, we have to talk about it. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Well, I will see you guys. Oh yeah, hypervigilance. Oh, thanks, Chris. I didn't do anything to it. Everybody, my hair, I don't really do anything. Of course, Cynthia, thank you so much for all of your wonderful tips and thumbs up and sharing and all of your comments and just participation and coming to hang out with me. So we will meet up again here. Meet me here, noon on Sunday, Pacific Standard Time. If you're wondering, I'm on Pacific Standard Time, and right now it's 2:25 p.m., okay? And I'll see you at noon on Sunday. And then I'm probably going to take a break from social media, but if you're curious about what I'm up to, you can follow me on Snapchat or Instagram, Kati Morton 1, okay? And bye everybody on Facebook who has been watching, and I will see you on Sunday. Have a good day. Bye.